I gather there's something else you'd like to say about the dreadful influence I am on Frank.
Yes, there is. This seems as good a time as any. Try to be honest with each other.
Well, I think we've done very well, which goes to show you don't have to like a person to be honest with them.
We may not like each other, but I also don't think that we've been quite as honest as we might be.
Go ahead. Should be an amusing way to pass the time till Frank is finished in X-ray.
On the most basic human level, you don't understand Frank. The way you handled tonight's car accident makes that painfully clear.
Jillian, you are preoccupied with the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I care about good sense. Telling the police he was driving that car was good sense. You disagree? I could care less.
Frank disagreed.
Frank has a head injury. He is in no condition to assess a maze of political consequences.
That's what I mean about understanding him, as a person, not as a politician. Frank was driving that car. He accepts complete responsibility for whatever goes with that. That's Frank. And by your not understanding that he would insist on the truth makes me know that you have no idea who he is.
I have spent many long days and evenings with Frank, and I have come to be aware of his honesty and to respect it. But the decision
was
I
not
made...
yours to make. It was Frank's, head injury or not.
That's really fascinating. Do you also walk 3 paces behind him and bow when you serve him dinner? Look, Jill, Frank and I have a partnership. When it comes to the Senate race, we share the decision-making policy. Now, I don't know what you do on the home front, but Frank and I work together as equals.
I think not. You're his patron. You give him money and influence. In return, he accepts some of your advice. But you don't make up his mind for him. He's told you that more than once.
Patron? Oh, what a charming word. I mean, it conjures up all sorts of marvelous images of decadent money and youthful talent. Do you really see Frank and me like that?
Patron is not my word, it's Frank's.
Poor Jill. Really would so much rather have him home mowing the front lawn than out running for national office, wouldn't you?
Oh, no, no, no. I simply resent one person trying to control another.
Well, I resent a lot of domestic nonsense getting in my candidate's way.
You take family life away from Frank and he is a different man. That energy inside of him, that thing that draws people and voters towards him, comes from complete security about who he is. Maeve, Johnny's son, Mary and Kathleen and Siobhan and Patrick's brother, and Edmund and Little John's father.
And your
husband-to-be. Now, after all of that and because of that, he is your candidate.
You really would like it so much if I would just walk away from him, wouldn't you?
He doesn't need you to win.
Well, he's got me full time between now and November, and after that for as long as he will allow it.
Thank you.
What for?
For finally saying what I've known for months.
Jill, how is he?
He's all right. He's in X-rays, but Dr. Valenti said not to worry.
Thank God.
Hello.
Oh, Ray, I'm sorry. How are you?
A little tired, otherwise fine. Thank you.
He's conscious, lucid.
Perfectly. He even talked to the police.
I think I'll wait to see Frank tomorrow. Please do tell him I said goodnight, won't you?
Sure. Go home, take a shot of whiskey, and sleep till noon.
Thank you, Doctor. Good night, all.
Night, Ray. Trouble with Ray?
Some.
What'd you do?
These are so good.
Yeah, up here especially.
My mother is probably turning over in her grave.
No food in bed?
Not unless you were sick, in which case you weren't hungry anyway.
So, our mothers had something in common after all.
I cheated, though. No crumbs, no smell. Who's gonna know if you were eating in bed or not? Didn't you?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I broke every other rule. Don't I get credit for that?
I guess so.
What could a child possibly want to eat that has got no crumbs, no smell?
Raw carrots? She had me brainwashed. I really thought if I ate in bed, I'd get ants, cockroaches, bed bugs, rats, for all I knew.
Are you finished with that?
Yeah? Why?
Because you are wonderful. And I couldn't tell you about it with our hands full.
Well, tell me now. I love it when you're happy.
We're so close. Don't you feel that?
Mm-hmm. I hope it stays this way.
Well, maybe we'll have raspberries and cream in bed every night.
Oh, can't. Joe says this is the last. Joe, the vegetable man. No more raspberries till next season. Of course, we could always try blueberries.
Okay. Oh, I want it like this, too.
Why don't you turn off the light?
I will. Oh my God.
I'd better rinse those.
Why?
Well, they're gonna get all sticky.
Does it matter?
Well, to someone who eats raw carrots in bed, yes. Oh, me and my compulsions, I'll wait.
You're not compulsive.
Oh, I'd wash the grass if you'd let me.
Hey, don't say that about my wife. You're wonderful and brave and good, and everybody adores you.
And you're dreaming, but go right ahead.
You know, I think of you as a steady little adventurer, a pilgrim soul. There's a Yeats poem.
What about?
There always is about you, I think. When you're old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of the shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true? But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced amongst the mountain tops overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
Oh, that's beautiful, Pat. Oh, Tom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
She didn't do anything to me. She did it to Frank. Or for him, as she said. She lied to the police. She said that she was driving the car when they hit the other car.
But Frank was?
Yeah.
Well, the cops must have seen him behind the wheel.
No, she switched places with him. Frank couldn't say a hell of a lot because he was unconscious.
When did he come to?
In emergency. But by that time, Dave Feldman agreed to Ray's story. He was so upset about Nancy, he wasn't paying any attention to what she was saying.
Well, I don't get it. Look, if somebody else ran into them, why?
Because she protects her candidate no matter what the cost, even if it means endangering him.
But you said Frank talked to the police?
Yeah, just a little while ago. Ray tried to get him to stick to her story. Didn't help his head much, but he wasn't having any of it. You should have seen him in there. He was a real master. I mean, telling the police the whole story flat on his back on an examination table.
Set the record straight.
Oh, yeah.
Ray's mad.
Oh.
Does this mean that she's in trouble?
Oh, no. He smoothed it all out.
Oh, straight arrow Ryan goes to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He really is one of a kind.
Oh, yeah. And I tried to tell her that more or less.
What about Dave and Nancy?
Well, I'm afraid Nancy's pretty bad. Head, back, leg injury. I think maybe it's something neurological because they called Patrick down for an opinion. Can you imagine how upset he was about her? I know that he didn't understand what Ray was saying.
Nancy's a dancer.
We're Where were the four of them going in the first place, huh?
Jack, you are not going to write about
Well,
this.
somebody's going to. I might as well beat him to it, hmm?
Jack, this is horrible publicity for Frank. I mean, he's driving a car where a young girl gets hurt, and then there's an attempted cover-up by his backer. Jack, please don't play up on this.
First of all, the accident wasn't his fault. Secondly, he was hurt too. Third, he's lying in emergency with a perfect excuse for no questions asked, and yet he insists on telling the truth. Now, that's a good story. And told my way, it'll be good for Frank. Come on, Mary. Look, somebody's gonna pick this up from the police blotter, if nowhere else.
I hate it, but you're probably right. I can't ask you to back off to save my job with Ray Woodard.
Right.
But could you please check it with Frank?
Mr. Ryan's been taken up to neurology, room 604. Now, you can see him, but only for a few minutes and one at a time.
How are the x-rays? I didn't know he had been admitted.
Oh, it's probably just for overnight observation. The doctor will talk to you upstairs.
Do you think we should cable Mother and Doc?
No. They'll be home tomorrow. Let them have the rest of the trip.
Mary, you go up and talk to him. I've seen him already.
Okay, I'd like to.
We'll be up in a couple of minutes. I know what I'm doing, Mayor. Can you fill me in on the scene when you arrived? I mean, he'd already talked to the police, right? Or he hadn't?
No, yeah, and, but Ray had first.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great job while it lasted.
Well, so much for the poetry hour.
I wasn't thinking of him. I don't know why I said it.
It's perfectly all right. Is the alarm set?
Tom, please don't be hurt.
Why don't we say goodnight and leave it at that?
No, because it's there between us, and I did it, and it's so ridiculous. I do that with names sometimes. The other day I called Roger Tom.
So you love me like a brother.
I fumble with words now and then. Don't take it seriously.
Forget it, Faith. I'm fine.
No, you're not. Don't do that, please. Talk to me.
Let go, please. Let go. It's late and I'm tired.
Do you really think I wanted to ruin everything? We were having this lovely moment. Does it stop that easily? Is it that fragile? When you were sick, you called me Terry, and I didn't punish you.
I'm not punishing you.
You are. And yourself. We were having a lovely time, and I make a slip of the tongue, and you leave me.
I left.
Yes.
You say that's beautiful, Pat? And I've left you?
I didn't mean it. Now, what more can I tell you?
Nothing.
Don't you ever say something
You
sometimes?
said it to me, with my arms around you and my voice speaking to you.
Exactly what do you take that to mean?
That you still want him, that you still love him, and that my function in this bedroom is basically that of a nameless body.
Oh, you don't believe that.
I have to. Didn't you just now turn me into Pat?
No. I honestly didn't. What is this about? I mean, I know you're jealous, but I had no idea how bad.
Keep calling me Pat, and you'll see how bad it is.
Even after we spent the last hour here with...
Yeah, with raspberries and cream in bed. How do I know what that means to you? It probably goes back to your affair with him. A favorite ritual. One of the many things Patrick taught you to enjoy.
Why can't you let me put him in the past?
Oh, my God, I love it if you would. But every time I turn around, you're with him. The two of you together in the staff lounge this morning, sharing his sandwich. Well, what about that? Now, that must have brought back a lot of old memories. Other sandwiches shared together, probably in this very bed. Did you sleep with him here?
Tom, stop. No, I'm married to you. I love you.
I take it that means yes.
Will you listen to me? Or are you too furious? Oh, never mind. I know the answer to that. Why don't we go out and walk or run? Maybe that'll help.
I'm not an animal that you exercise, cool down, and then bring back to my stall.
Do you think of Pat with me every time you walk into this room? Is that what goes through your head?
Yes, and in yours.
Oh, Tom, will you stop it, please? I said his name. It was a word, a mistake. You are the one I was in touch with. It was you, Tom, who was holding me, reciting poetry to me. It was you who I wanted to make love with.
I'd never touch another woman while I had you. I'd never break an engagement to you or keep after you if I had a wife. Or attack your marriage if you've turned to somebody else. But Pat's done all these things and you're still closer to him than you are to me.
Whatever he's done, or whatever I've done, we're old friends. So in that sense, there is a bond there. But it's no threat to you, really. Sure, we talk sometimes, but...
Are you defending him?
Tom, he has never attacked our marriage. I'd be perfectly glad to tell you everything that we have said to each other since the wedding.
Don't! I don't want to hear anything.
Tom!
Leave it! I'm going out!
Just rest and get out of here fast.
Thanks, hon. I will.
Okay, I'll see you in the morning.
I'll see you.
Yeah.
Jack's waiting for you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I only can stay a minute. Jack wants to talk to you, too.
Yeah, Mary says he'd like to do a column before someone else does.
Uh-huh. About your strength of character and, Ray's protective instincts.
Look, she was only trying to do her job. Don't come down too hard on her. I warned Jack about letting Ray end up being the villain of the piece.
I'm sorry if I let out some, secret. The story was not my idea, and Jack is part of the family.
No, I wasn't criticizing you.
Oh, yes, you were. But I don't want to talk about it right now.
Good.
For now, I'm just grateful that you're alive and relatively well.
Well, I'll be as good as new tomorrow.
I love you.
I love you.
I don't think we should be doing this.
So my blood pressure rises, so what?
So good night.
You kiss Edmund for me.
I will. I'm so glad you're okay. I love you.
I love you.
Good night.
Good night.
Your turn.
Well, Senator, understand you had a very busy night. Want to tell me all about it?
Doctor, any word on Councilman Ryan?
I understand he's in pretty good shape.
They tell me Mr. Feldman's all right, but his daughter has a head injury. Is that correct?
Well, I'm afraid you probably know more about that than I would. I just got here.
Oh, were you called in for Mr. Ryan?
No, not exactly. He's a neurology patient. I'm chief there.
Dan Davis. I'm a reporter. Glad to meet you. Dr.
Bolek. Hello.
You don't know Mr. Ryan?
No, I do. He's an acquaintance.
Oh, boy, close call, this accident. I talked to the policeman who got to the scene first, and he said Mr. Ryan was out cold. Mrs. Woodard gave him a statement, but seems to be some mix-up as to who'd been driving.
Well, I believe Frank was.
Yeah, that's what he said later, but originally Mrs. Woodard claimed she was.
I really wouldn't know.
It seems she got behind the wheel right after the crash. If there was any trouble, Mr. Ryan wouldn't have to worry about it. Apparently, it was the other car's fault, but you have to wonder about a cover-up, right? I mean, especially since a powerful woman like Mrs. Woodard's involved. Young woman was seriously hurt. I'm just trying to figure out what's behind it, if anything.
Yeah. Listen, by any chance, you wouldn't happen to be with the paper that's competitive to Mrs. Woodard's now, would you?
How'd you guess?
Well, just a hunch. Ray told me that there was a certain amount of rivalry between your publication and hers.
You're a friend of Mrs. Woodard's. Well, give my best when you see her. Good night.
I do not give you permission to quote me.
No, sir, I understand.
How's Mr. Ryan?
Frank is fine. It's Miss Coleridge we have to worry about. I'm glad you're here. Can you stay?
Of course. I asked Angel to stay the night as his friend so I could help. Would you like something to eat, or would you rather go straight to bed?
We have to get to work. I want that statewide campaign swing planned and underway just as soon as possible. We will have him out of town and out of her clutches for the next 3, hopefully 4 weeks. Go make a pot of coffee. This could take all night. She does not deserve him. She is not going to have him. I will see to it.
This Thursday, the roles are reversed. She won't commit, and he won't stand for it. Sounds like a job for the